Hi, my name is Jason Morgan. Welcome into my studio, and I'm starting to do some quick tip videos. So I'm just going to briefly cover topics that I know some people are having trouble with or they're struggling with in small, easy chunks. So on this one, I know it's a topic I've covered before, sharpening pastel pencils, but people are still having trouble. So I'm going to go into it in a little bit more detail and perhaps point out where things may be going a little bit wrong. So let's take a look at the first tip. Okay, so this is the one I use almost all the time for sharpening my pastel pencils. It's called the Swordfish pencil sharpener icon, and it's got a product number of 40100. Yeah, that's 40100. Okay, so that's made in England, but I know you can get it in the USA as well. It's a cheap sharpener for a desktop crank handle sharpener. It's around about £10 on sites like Amazon. Probably much more expensive in the USA because of import. But it just had really good reviews. When I started using pastel pencils, I knew I'd wanted to look into crank sharpeners, handle sharpeners, because I don't want to be doing a razor blade all the time. And it's as simple as that. You just pull this out, it locks out there, push button on the side, insert your pencil, and then just turn the handle. And then out comes the pencil, and as you can see, lovely sharp pastel point on there. I get very few breakages, and this is good for pencils such as Carbothello, which is the one I generally use. You can also use things like Pitt pastel pencils because they're all of a similar hardness. Derwent pastel pencils, Gioconda. So anything that's got quite a hard pastel pencil nib actually in there. Now, things where people may be going wrong. Softer pencils such as Caran d'Ache, possibly Derwent, although they're not as soft as Caran d'Ache, they're going to start breaking in here. If you use a soft pencil, what you really need to do is use either a blade or use a pencil sharpener, a hand sharpener. I have more luck with these. This is an M&R one. I've got a video on that on YouTube. But for the hard pastel pencils, this should work perfectly. There's other versions out there of this Swordfish, but this is the only one that I've used, and I've used this for the past 1.5 years and pretty much used nothing else. So it's gone through a lot of sharpening. So why am I hearing things like people saying they've sharpened 10 or 15 pastel pencils, then this stops working? It's spinning around and doesn't sharpen anymore. Well, it could be a couple of things. When you put your pencil in, perhaps the nib has broken inside. That will cause the crank to just spin, and it won't be able to pull the pencil in anymore. Simple fix, you just unscrew the back. There's the mechanism. The nib will be stuck in there. Just use something to push it out, something like a blade. Watch you not blunting this blade, and just push it out and tap it out. That'll work. And put that straight back in. And just twist it and it's back in. So what else could be going wrong with these sharpeners for people? Well, when you put the pencil in and you start sharpening, there's an auto stop mechanism in here. So when the pencil gets very sharp, it'll stop this turning. I don't let it go that far. For me, that's too far with pastel pencils. It creates an end that's so sharp anyway that when you touch it to the pastel paper surface, it'll just snap, because we can't go that as sharp as a normal coloured pencil with pastel pencils. So I generally only sharpen them to this level or perhaps slightly sharper. So I'm not letting it go all the way. When I put it in, I'm just turning the handle, depending on how sharp or how blunt it is when I'm putting it in. Perhaps I'm just turning it 3 times. Then I pull the pencil out and check the sharpness on there. So if people are getting lots of breakages, perhaps you're doing it too much and you're making it go all the way, and you're trying to make a pencil actually go too sharp for a pastel pencil. That could be the one thing. Another thing that could be going wrong is or what I'm doing differently, even though I say it in other videos, people just seem to ignore it. Every couple of pastel pencils I'm sharpening, so say I'm sharpening 5 of these, I've got 5 blunt pencils I'm working on there, and I do say about 5, I put one of these inside. Now this is just a cheap, the make is irrelevant, but it's a whole graphite pencil. There's no wood casing around it as in this. So it's that's just pure graphite with a lacquer on the outside of that section. There's just graphite, there's no wood. Okay, so I've got to really state that and get the cheapest ones you can, because we're not going to be using them to draw with. All I then do is put one of these inside, and then I just sharpen that. And I get the point really sharp on there. Okay, now initially I thought that this was actually sharpening the blade inside the sharpener, but I've got a friend that's in the industry of working with blades, and they use graphite to keep their blades lubricated. So it's not sharpening it, it's lubricating it. Now that's all I can think of that I'm doing different with than lots of other people. I'm putting this in every 3 to 5 or so pastel pencils, sharpenings. I'm just doing that, and I'm just turning it 5, 6, 7 times till I get a very sharp point on here. So that's the only real thing I can think that I'm doing there. Now that may not seem important, but I got a funny feeling that it is, and that's the major difference. So have a look on your favourite art type of sites, or where I get these from are budget bookshops, and they sell these kind of cheap art materials, and you usually find these in there. The harder they are, probably the better. This was a 4B, but just give that a try. Now, when I heard lots of people saying their Swordfish pencil sharpeners had died on them after just a few sharpenings, I went out and I bought another one, because I figured, well, mine was just over a year old, mine was due to die, I didn't want to be without it, and for the sake of roughly £10 per year, I'd be quite happy to you know, just buy another one every year. But I bought this. This is how they come. You can see inside I've not even taken it out the wrapping paper, because I've never had to use it, because this other one has just carried on for another 6 months, no problem whatsoever, doesn't seem to be getting blunt at all. So I'll keep this going until eventually it's obviously going to go blunt, then I'll replace it. You can buy the replacement blades for this, but I don't see the point, because to be honest, when I've researched it, the blades actually cost more than buying a whole new unit. So that's just a quick tip and a short video on sharpening the pastel pencils with a crank handle. So as long as you do those things, number one, make sure your pencils are quite hard. So that would be Carbothello, Pitt, Gioconda. There's a couple of other brands that are a harder pastel pencil as well. If you're using the soft pencils like Caran d'Ache, do the hand sharpening or a blade, and I've got other videos on that, as I said. Make sure you haven't got anything stuck in the blade. That'll cause that handle to just keep rotating. And most importantly, sharpen them with one of those pure graphite pencils every 3 to 5 or so pastels that you're doing. Hope you've enjoyed this short video, and I'll see you all for more tips real soon. If you're looking for even more great art sources, I've really got you covered. First off, I've got a Patreon channel. It's been going well over a year or so, packed with around about 50 or more videos and new ones every month. Lots of the videos are many hours long, so you can see they're really in-depth subjects such as turtles, birds, elephants, big cats, you name it, it's on there. So that's my Patreon channel. And also on that Patreon channel, before I go on to something else, I've got a secret Facebook group. So only the members are actually on there. It's the most supportive and friendly Facebook group that I've ever seen. I know I'm biased, but it really is. We've got 400 or 500 members on there, and they all help each other. So that's a great added bonus. That comes free with it. Also, you get line art every month as well. And we've just designed a brand new companion website for it. So if you've joined other Patrons, and channels, and you found it very, very difficult to navigate around, we got this free website that comes with it. All the videos are now just a single click away. Couldn't be any easier than it is. I've also got my site, jasonmorgan.co.uk, lots of tutorial videos, DVD discs and downloads on there. And if you're struggling for reference photos for your art projects, I've got some of those too. I've got 900 plus on my website, wildlifeart-online.com, and they will be copyright free for you, so you can paint and draw from them and sell your work with no copyright worries whatsoever. So hope you like those extra resources, and I'll see you all again real soon.